when Liddy was pregnant with Everett, I read an article and it was talking about a lot of your Holstein bull calves end up going to feedlots where they put implants behind their ear to make them grow faster. And with that, they can finish them out in 14 months. Something about reading that article and it just hit me like, well, I have the pasture. I could get a couple Holstein bull calves. I grew up on a farm, worked on a dairy farm, been around cattle my whole life.
Scratched.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's dirty.
That's okay.
I gotta put it in there?
Yep.
Okay.
So I can get a couple Holstein bottle calves and raise our own beef. Now keep in mind, when I got these bull calves, I had no intentions on feeding them grass-fed.
What are these horses talking about?
I got 2 bull calves, raised them on a bottle, switched them over to grain, and they were actually inside in a box stall at the neighbor's house all summer, all winter long. And then I started putting up an electric fence around 2 acres of my 5 acres. So that next spring, my dad actually brought his trailer over, helped me load them up. We brought them down to my property and we let them go. And it was then when my dad said to me, you can give them some grain, but they're probably not going to eat any of it for a few days. Well, you left the fence off. We forgot to turn the fence back on. It's because you got such tall, nice grass here. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And he was right. There was so much clover and alfalfa and grass out there that they spent their whole time out there eating and never really bothered with any grain. They were satisfied. So after a week or two, I gave them a little grain. They would start eating a little bit of it. Then after about a month, this 2 acres was gone. They ate the whole thing. And I got to thinking, well, it's kind of nice not to have to buy. I mean, honestly, that's where I was coming from. Not it'd be healthier or grass-fed is better than grain-fed. It was bags of steer feed is expensive. So I thought, well, how would I make this pasture last longer? And I remembered working on that dairy farm in high school. But he had his pasture split up into 3. So they would start out in this pasture after 3 weeks or so. After that was eaten down, he would move them to the other pasture. Then he'd move them to the other pasture. So they had grass all year long. And I thought, well, that's what I need to do. Divide this in half. I was researching chickens actually and came across some of Joel Salatin's stuff, and he started talking about his salad bar beef and how he moves his cows every day and the benefits of moving your cows every day, how your pasture's healthier, the animal's healthier. You don't need to deworm the animals because you're moving them onto new ground, which allows the parasites to die. It gives the grass a break so it grows up better. And I heard all that and I'm thinking, wow, that just makes a lot of sense. And so I started moving them every week. There's no way I can move them every day, right? Working and everything is too much work. So I moved them every week, and I was still feeding them grain, but it was making my pasture last longer.
Camera? That's a good idea. Well, we're in Florida. I got observation, and there's a creek. And now we are having a... I
ended up fattening out those steers in a box stall during the winter, feeding them grain. We butchered them. We kept a quarter of it. We sold the rest, and it was great beef. We were happy with it. But as you go more into the homesteading thing and go further down into it, people talk more and more about grass-fed, having more of the minerals. And what it comes down to is it is just healthier beef for it. So I made it a point to where I want to go as far into the winter as possible on grass, and we'll just feed them hay after that. And that's what I started doing. And this spring we butchered our first steer that was completely grass-fed. And right now I got 8 more going that are a year old that'll be butchered next summer, all grass-fed. It's just interesting to me how different I look at things now after having kids. I just find myself looking at what we eat and just wanting it to be the best it can be. I do believe a lot of our health issues are in what we eat, but I'll be the first to tell you I'm still eating Oreos.